Alexa Bliss versus Carmella. It's been 4 weeks since I last ventured into the NXT experience. This was mainly due to working on fast memories, of which I apologise for a lack of bouts. So, I come back and I get greeted with two talented women to square off with the Iron Fist Alexa Bliss and the People's Princess in Carmella. Hashtag People's Princess. Let's make that a thing. This was a really physical contest with neither combatant holding back, and that's how it should be. Fans want to see their favourites give it their all, not phone it in. Eva Marie. Bliss seems to improve with each match. Her aggressive attacks have become more effective to the degree that it kept Carmella grounded for a small duration. But I do question what this girl could be capable of should she go about face and become a fan favourite. It worked for Trish Stratus, of which Bliss has been compared to. Carmella reminds me of a female Shawn Michaels in some degree, with her catch-as-catch-can style of wrestling and the fluid pacing of said wrestling. All she needs is the sweet chin music and the gimmick is complete. Bliss wins via Twisted Bliss. How appropriate. To quote CM Punk, "You just gotta love crazy chicks." And people love Alexa Bliss, and so do I. We get a video package of what led to the announcement of Balor versus Nakamura, along with an interview with Shinsuke earlier in the day. Shinsuke comes across as honest and really relishing the challenge of facing his longtime friend. Interview with Bayley, feeling rejuvenated after coming off the injured list and wanting to face Asuka, again in an attempt to reclaim the women's title. But of course, everyone's favourite asshole in Alexa Bliss decides to crash the feel-good moment and says she needs to go through her in order to get another shot at Asuka. I didn't realise they changed GMs in NXT because last time I checked, William Regal was the person in charge. It's a squash. Noah Potjes? Apologies if I pronounced that wrong. Versus Andrade Cien Almas. This is my first viewing of Andrade, and the guy comes across as being likeable with his jovial entrance, and the fans greeted him positively. And his wrestling is just as good as his character is an amazing high fly that also uses his moves and swagger to mess with his opponent in Noah. Noah's style is much more grounded and aggressive, resorting to kicks and holds. Kinda reminds me of Stone Cold's style, which was much more methodical and less fancy. But then I would argue that simplicity keeps it effective. Andrade wins in 2 minutes and 52 seconds. First bout back and I witness a squash match. Alright. Austin Aries interview about why he attacked No Way Jose last week. He's annoyed that Jose is beloved by the fans despite not achieving anything close to what he considers as greatness from what he has accomplished in his career. Sour grapes much? Finn Balor interview talking about his experiences with Shinsuke Nakamura. He talks about how Nakamura was the first guy to help him out in Japan and he recognizes him as a friend and both have met each other's family. He says the fans are in for a real treat. I agree. And next week is being signed with Alexa Bliss versus Bayley. That should be good. And we come to our main event. Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano, aka Johnny Wrestling, versus the Hype Brothers. And the downward spiral of Zack Ryder continues by seemingly lost his path to reclaim the Intercontinental Championship from Oni's favourite wrestler. Thank you very much, The Miz. And now he's back with Mojo Rawley, who to my understanding has not really accomplished anything other than be a gimmick. Now gimmicks are fine if they get somewhere, like The Undertaker or Stone Cold, but what has Rawley achieved compared to them? I rest my case. Momentum shifted between both sides to where the Hype were in control, very cohesively to begin with, but then Ciampa and Johnny Wrestling picked it up briefly. I wasn't amused with the commercials during the match, which really disrupts the flow of the contest and the enjoyment. Network, here's a little bit of advice. Next time, do commercials between matches. It's like watching a concert on TV and going to commercial break during the halfway point of a song. It's not appropriate. Ciampa and Gargano may have gotten the win, but the Super Goofball Brothers, oh good lord, I can hear only doing Mario music. But the Super Goofball Brothers were the better performing team. Now, granted, better performing doesn't mean that much if they don't get the win. And while that's true, I think the winners were lucky.
I have something to say.
Gargano gets on the mic and makes it clear that since he and Ciampa beat the Revival a few weeks ago, that should grant them a title shot. Granted, this was before they took the tag team titles from American Alpha, but the point still stands. Cue American Alpha, who clearly have unfinished business with the Revival, and make it clear that they got the first shot against the champions. Boring shtick number 871 commences with charisma that wasn't even cutting edge during the new generation, Face the Facts Revival, as the Revival grace the audience with their presence. They cite that they are driving the car and the ship and are calling the shots in the tag team division, and they dictate the terms. I didn't realize NXT was a car. If it was a car, it'd be a Mustang, because why not? The NXT Mustang. Pride. Ooh, I like that. This prompts the presence of William Regal and is quick to put the champions in their place, and that he dictates the terms just as well. Last thing we need are NXT equivalents of Triple H thinking they can run roughshod in the only decent area of WWE, Face the Facts main roster. But you have scored major points with Dean Ambrose as the new WWE Undisputed Champion. He says Ciampa and Gargano are in line for a title shot against the champions, but not before next week when the Revival put their belts on the line against American Alpha in the rematch from TakeOver in a 2 out of 3 Falls match. And I'm gonna get the provisions, because this is good. To quote Bradshaw, this gonna be good. Revival walk off in a huff, as only they know how to do, which left the contenders and future contenders shaking hands in a show of respect before getting jumped by the Authors of Pain. There's a joke I could make, but I don't know this team well enough. This was tantamount to a car wreck with where all 4 men were left in a heap. After a lengthy absence, it's good to see that the momentum and quality has not dropped from the NXT experience, as there was not one bad match amongst the lineup. Everyone turned in decent performances whether you like the people or not, as that is the one thing that NXT does consistently compared to the main roster, is producing quality, authentic wrestling matches and not some boring 3-hour soap operas with implied wrestling in their matches. I like that we're heading to another turning point where some superstars' paths are being changed and we are being given new scenarios where champions have fresh contenders, as that keeps the setup interesting. NXT gets an A++ this week. Ladies and gentlemen, I am the Knight. I am back on duty in the NXT Tower, and I say good night from the Knight, and I'll see you next week.